Is Disney Speedstorm worth playing in 2024? Today, we're going to be going over some of the responses to the question that I asked, would you recommend Disney Speedstorm to your friends or your family members? And I'm just going to say right now, them comments were spicy. Let's get into it. First comment we have, and it looks like a new face. It's from Mr. Tress Lewis, and I feel like I mispronounced that, so please, I apologize. They said, I have been, but they all dropped it a couple of days later for being too pay to win. I kind of see where they're coming from. I do. I'm someone who's been playing since early access, so I actually have a lot of the things unlocked that players who came later will not be able to have unlocked. One of the issues with Disney Speedstorm is that their pay to win aspect isn't just in one direction. Most of the time when you hear someone say pay to win, they're most likely talking about PvP or player versus player. But in Disney Speedstorm, their pay to win is across the board. It's pay to win for limited events to get new characters or get upgrades and things like that. There's also pay to win for the season tour. Again, you're missing out on character shards, upgrades, and things like that. Then you have the PvP, which is player versus player. So there's 3 sections to this game that is more advantageous to people that are paying or for players like me who've been playing for an extremely long time. This is neglecting a lot of the new players, and this is one of the reasons why, in my opinion, if this doesn't get changed, Disney Speedstorm might not make it, because we're basically saying that the only people that we want to serve are the people in this particular bubble. But if we want to invite friends, like this player said already, they're not going to want to play anymore. And I said this 5 months ago when I made a video. I said this is something that's going to cause people to come try it out and not play because they can't get a lot of the things because of the pay to win aspect. You are literally forced to pay. Sometimes they will give you shards and have you be like 5 shards off. So you have to pay in order to star your character up. So they basically set you up to then have to pay later. They string you along until you get to the point where it's like, I'm super close, I might as well pay anyway, and that's how they get you. So if you are looking for a pay to win, if you are looking for a free to play experience that you either want to play to just hop into and enjoy yourself, Disney Speedstorm, it might not be it if you can't handle the fact that you're gonna have to be playing for a very long time before you can really enjoy the game how you want to enjoy it. Great comment, Lewis. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. It's nice to see a new face. Let's move on to the next comment. The next comment is from BlizzTech. Yes, I would definitely recommend Disney Speedstorm to a friend or family member, even though it can be a bit infuriating sometimes. Despite the flaws that it has, it's still a fun, unique racing game to be enjoyed. It's got fantastic visuals and a stellar soundtrack that I absolutely love. The game really has me hooked, and I will continue to play it for the coming seasons ahead and beyond. I'm super happy that I could help support the game back in its early access days as a founding member, get it to where it is now, and help it be a big success. So that right there stems back from the last comment, right? The longer you've played or the more cash you put into the game, the more fun you can have out of the game. And that's one of the issues if you are a new player looking to come into the game. There's not a lot for you. If you're a new player coming into Disney Speedstorm, you're going to be very disappointed because up until now, most of the kart games that you have played or that you bought, you know that you hop right in and you just enjoy yourself, and that's that. Disney Speedstorm has a very slow progression, and this is due to it being a mobile game. I think they designed it as a mobile game since early access, and that was kind of the plan in the future regardless. So how they built the game and how they, compounded all of their structures on what they wanted to do, it started to lean more towards the mobile game, more towards that side. So as an early access player like myself, it still feels like the same old Disney Speedstorm, but if you are a new player and you're not into mobile games, you're going to be disappointed because this game has mobile written all over it. The microtransactions, the slow progression, the pay to win features, like everything is really just a mobile game on top of a PlayStation, Xbox, or PC. And then obviously if you like mobile games, this game would actually be pretty dang decent for you. But like I said before, BlizzTech, when you're a founder, it's a lot more fun. If you were to play Disney Speedstorm right now, you might not be singing the same tune, and that's one of the issues that I had back in the day when I was making these videos. It was like I already knew that when new players would come in, they wouldn't want to stick around because you'd have to play forever, and it's not fun enough. The gameplay loop isn't fun enough, and sometimes you just realistically run out of stuff to do, and if you're a new player, why would you just not go play another game? You know, why would you not play Mario Kart? Why would you not play Crash Team Nitro Fuel? Why would you not play any of these other kart games, Sonic? Like, you have so many more games to play if you really just want to play a racer, that Disney Speedstorm might not scratch that itch, other than I just like Disney characters, and no other kart racer provides that. So, again, I see where you're coming from, but again, it's way more fun if you've been spending time. It's way more fun if you've been playing for a long time, or you just bought cash for the game outright. Otherwise, you might not be having the same feeling that you would have with nothing tied to your account at all. Bliss Tech, I appreciate the comment. Thank you for the positivity that you've brought with your comment. Let's move on to the next one. Quantum Knight said, they couldn't even pay me to recommend this game at this point. Definitely my last season, this game has some of the most predatory microtransaction systems I have ever seen in a game without a mobile launch. Other races like Karters 2 exist. The Disney IP can't save Disney Speedstorm unless they make sweeping changes. I was gonna say, Quantum Knight, when I read that first part, I was like, they have the most predatory microtransaction system, and I was like, that's mobile games though. And then you kept going and said, for a game without a mobile launch. And then I was like, oh, okay, you right. No, you right. It's funny because a lot of the issues with Disney Speedstorm tend to be covered up because they drop a lot of the fun stuff, and it makes you forget about the issues. If you ever pay attention to a character released or a new season drop, if they hint about it, everybody kind of forgets about the problems. And if they continue to do that consistently, we basically never think of the problems. Nowadays, though, they're dropping the ball, and we have moments to actually sit and think and stew on our own juices about what are the negative aspects of the game and why haven't they been fixed. So again, you know, I don't believe that there should be a band-aid fix to have players be quiet. I feel like that's a horrible way to run the game. Not saying that that's all that they do. I'm not saying that. They have done some things in the past, but most of them are not really pertaining to the real issues that players are bringing to the table. If you take a look at that Discord feedback chat, if any of you guys take a look at that, you'll see a lot, like walls and walls of players with awesome ideas that just haven't been even thought about in the game. They haven't even tried it. Now you could say, well, maybe they tried it internally, but honestly, it's been a long time and we're saying some of the same things already. And so that's why I feel that's why I feel that maybe newer players might not enjoy it, is because if you're new coming in and you think about it, it's supposed to be a live service game. It's supposed to be an ever evolving game. And usually when that happens, you have new updates every single season or every single few months, whatever. Some games have different schedules, but with Disney Speedstorm, the only thing that they're focusing on is what characters can we drop in the game. And as Quantum Knight said, most predatory microtransactions, I can't, that's a mouthful, ain't it? Systems, they're really designed to get you to pay. There's not really anything that I've noticed in Speedstorm that isn't designed to make you spend money. If you are playing Season Tour, you'll run into a problem where you can't accomplish something unless you buy shards to star up your character. In ranked, you run into a wall where you can't win any more races because other players have more stars or more levels than you. When you play limited events, you're going to run into situations where you can't complete certain missions because you don't own that character. You don't have that character at that level. Now, at this point, it's going to make you do a few things. It's going to make you purchase resources so you can level up your character. But then you're going to get to a point where you can't level up anymore and you'll need to star up, which then means you need to buy stars, right? And then on top of that, you're going to need to buy a new character sometimes. And if you buy a new character, then you're going to have to buy levels and stars for that character. On top of that, the way that it works is that a lot of the stuff that you see in the shop are not necessarily worth it. If you say, well, I get 5 shards for, I think it's $10, that's a little ridiculous, especially because as you start your character, you'll need 50, you'll need 6, I don't really know the numbers, but it's 50, 60, 70, it's different numbers, but you get where I'm coming from with that. You'll need more stars. So you're telling me I spend $10 on 5 shards when I need 80? So you're telling me if I want to get that 80, I'm gonna be spending You can see where we're going with this. So the fact that this game is kind of made that way, the fact that it's telling you to spend money every single spot that you go, the fact that sometimes it basically tries to force you to spend money by having you reach just enough shards, having you reach just enough resources, having you reach just enough this, like that type of thing makes it so that it's very, very hard for new players to want to even play the game. And if you're an old player coming back, you missed out on quite a bit, and you're basically in that same boat. It's that you can't really enjoy the game because you don't have anything to your name. And that is not a good game, right? There should be aspects about it that you can enjoy. Now, you can't say, well, you could just play regulated. Well, first off, you'll need to have the character, or it needs to be free to play. So if you don't have the character, you still can't play that character. Second off, you don't really get anything for playing regulated. You could say, oh, well, it's fun to play regulated, but it's not. The only fun part about Disney Speedstorm is playing private matches. If you are a new player, or if you're someone who wants to play with your friends, private matches are undoubtedly the most fun you'll have in Disney Speedstorm, because you can play all your characters. You can really get that feel of that Mario Kart vibe. You can get that feel of that dropping in and playing for a bit. But if you actually want to play Disney Speedstorm to play the entire package, you might be disappointed as a new player unless you already come in with that mindset of it's going to be a very slow progression system. It's going to be asking you for money left and right, and you're going to be frustrated quite often because, again, it's more favoring the people that have been playing for a really long time, or the players who've been buying a lot. And so if that's something that you like to avoid when playing games, then yes, Disney Speedstorm might not be for you, because that is exactly what you'll be experiencing. Now, maybe if you could gift people some stuff, I guess, or trade stuff, I don't know. I don't think that really solved the problem. They're just going to have to make 2 separate modes. Honestly, though, they should just delete the game and make Disney Speedstorm 2. No, I'm just saying. Maybe not delete the game. But you know they did the thing with Asphalt 9 and Asphalt 8. They made another one. So if they made another Disney Speedstorm and actually made it a console game, or just made it less pay to win, less egregious with all these microtransactions, really just made it like an actual kart game like its predecessors that's been doing it correctly all these years, then they would make something great, and they would have something where you can just come in and drop. This is a lot of the times why we lose numbers. It's either due to people coming in, new players coming in, and then they just dip out, or you have people that have been playing for a long time and is like, okay, I'm tired of the same old loop of something drops, I don't have enough shards levels for it, and I have to pay, or I have to do something crazy to get it, and then it's just a rinse and repeat of the same thing every single season. The only difference is it's a different shade of color. And so that's what you're getting into when you play. When you join in as a new player, you're going to be at a major disadvantage, and you might not actually have a lot of fun if that's not something you're looking into when we're talking about things that are other kart races where you can just drop in and, get going, have a good time, and chill out. Unless you play private mode. Again, that's a great mode to play. Quantum Knight, thank you for the comment. I do appreciate it. I appreciate your side of the story as well. I love it when all you guys comment. I love knowing what you guys are thinking, whether you guys agree with me or disagree, whether you guys agree or disagree with each other. I just want to make a safe space so we can all talk and hear each other's thoughts, because this is the type of thing that can help make the game better if we all work together. Quantum Knight, thanks again. Let's move on to the next comment. Freaky Fruit says, I love that name, by the way. I actually really love that icon too. You gaming. No, I see you. They say, funny you say that. I was actually in a call last night with my friends. I was telling them about the game and that we all should play it since it's free. They don't really need to worry about unlocking the characters, as everyone is unlocked in private lobbies. So yeah, would very much recommend the game to friends. And I literally just touched upon that in the last comment. This is funny how all the comments are just touching upon. I haven't read them. I just mashed them together and then, put them on to read them out. So I guess I glanced at them, but I didn't read them. So we actually get to see, it's crazy to see how you guys are bouncing off each other. It's pretty unique and it's pretty awesome. So as I was saying, private lobbies are definitely something that is good, because that literally does what Mario Kart does. That literally does what Nickelodeon Kart Racer does. That literally does what iPad racers do. They hop you in the game and they say, have fun, enjoy yourself. Disney Speedstorm is not that way. If you are playing private, it's a different story. It's a lot more fun to play everything with your friends. But let's just say you're playing private with a whole bunch of strangers. You might not have that same fun. League of Legends is the same way. I would tell you, if I'm climbing that solo ranked ladder, boy, and you guys get on my nerves, it's a very different experience than when I'm dueling with someone and they get on my nerves, right? Because if you have someone else to share the pain, share the whatever, you forget about everything. You're just having a good time. And with Disney Speedstorm, it's the same way when you play the private stuff. But when we're talking about the actual bulk of the game, because private is just a piece of it, if we're talking about getting into the game by yourself, not playing with your friends, then we run into a lot of issues that players might not be expecting, because how it's marketed, how you see it from the outside, is totally different from how it is on the inside. This is why a lot of the players say that the game is great, it's awesome, and then maybe a month later I see on my videos from the same player that said it was awesome saying that they can't stand this game, it doesn't make sense, I don't like it. That's because there's a honeymoon phase. There's a honeymoon phase when you play Disney Speedstorm. It's one of those, it's interesting because I don't think I've had this happen, but maybe it's a mobile game thing. No, it is a mobile game thing, actually. Wow, they basically just copied and pasted a mobile game. So mobile games kind of do this thing where they start you off like banging. Like they start you off with items and goodies and S tier characters. Ooh, they make it seem so fun and crazy. And the goal of that is to get you far enough into the game where you feel like you don't want to quit anymore because you already accomplished so much. But they will stonewall you intentionally. Now you have a decision to make. Well, I wasted 10, 20 hours, whatever. I wasted these hours getting into this game. Do I just quit and move on? Or because I wasted so many hours and I actually do like it, I'm just going to pay so that I can get stronger. I'm going to pay so that I can get different characters. And that is kind of what's happening with Disney Speedstorm. They have the initial honeymoon phase where it's like, as an example, the season tour, they're giving you 4-star, 5-star, all this extra good stuff, so many characters. Oh my God, look at all these shards. And then towards the end of that season, you start to see a change. Towards the end of the season with limited events, you start to see a change. Towards the end of the ranked system, you start to see a change. And you'll start to see how eventually you'll get stonewalled. They did a really good job of making it seem like, oh, it's amazing, look at what we got. But you get to the point where you have two options. You quit the game, or you stay with the game and go through this ever growing loop of, I need to get these characters to do these things, to then unlock more characters, to then do these things, to then rinse and repeat. And if you're not gonna cash, it feels horrible. And if you do cash, it probably still feels horrible because it's like, bro, I'm not trying to spend. Y'all could just give it to me for free, but you don't really have an option. So I will say that Freaky Fruit, I love that. I love that. I will say that, yes, if you're going to play Disney Speedstorm strictly to just play with your pals, that private lobby, ooh, that's so fun. We even played that on stream. I had a good time playing with you guys. I had a good time talking to you guys, getting to know you guys. You guys are all interesting human beings, and I really enjoyed that moment that we shared. And we didn't even really know each other, right? We got to know each other. So the amount of fun you can have with your friends on this game, it's just crazy. But if you break away from that private lobby and go to the actual meat and potatoes of the game, you might feel let down. So that's something to think about when you're coming into Disney Speedstorm. What are your main goals? Do you just want to hang out with your friends? If so, it'll be a different type of vibe than if you're really going to play Disney Speedstorm to play Disney Speedstorm. Freaky Fruit, I just can't stop. I love that name. I didn't even mean to say that. That's how much I love it. It was an accident. I was going to say, I loved your comment. Again, positivity. Awesome. And I really love that you're trying to have that great time with your friends. It really goes to show how much of a people person you are and how much you really enjoy everybody else having a good time alongside you. Let's have a look at the next comment. The next comment is from Ezek Poek. I feel like I said that incorrectly, but that is kind of fire if that's what it is. But anyway, they said, I actually did it when I started playing last season, but now I wouldn't. Now I know more of the bad things in the game, and I wouldn't invite anyone to have the same shock I had. The honeymoon phase with the game is marvelous, but what comes next? Definitely no. That's funny. Again, I don't know how this is happening, but that stems off the last comment that I said, where you have to think about what your goal is for Disney Speedstorm. The way that it markets it, the way that it shows you, the way that it appears on the outside, totally different from the way that it is on the inside. And again, they do a good job of letting you feel really good for the first few hours, but then after that, you're stuck. And that is what people just don't like, and that's why we lose players. And on top of that, it's not even just that, but there really is no welcome wagon for new players. You could say, well, Season Tour gave them 4 stars and 5 stars. But why do we even have to do that? Like, why can't we have some sort of thing that doesn't revolve around needing like the 4 stars and 5 stars to even compete in like ranked? Or why do we need characters to do limited events? Or why do we need characters to do season tour? And you can say, well, it's a free to play game. They need to make money somehow. That is not a great way to, I was going to say horrible, but I'm gonna be nice. That's not a good way to make money, to make it feel like we're forced to do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to say, hey, look what we got, you can buy it if you want, versus, hey, look what we got, you need to buy it or else you screwed. That feels like I'm just being choked and I only have an option. Like, I don't really like that aspect of the game. As I said though, that honeymoon phase that I was talking about, it lasts for a while. So either A, you might actually quit before you get to that end of the honeymoon phase, or B, you'll get to the honeymoon phase and that's when you decide that you quit, or that's when you decide that you just pay up and start doing the most. That's the hard part about Disney Speedstorm. When it grabs you, it really grabs you. And you'll notice too that a lot of the players that you might be hearing from, whether it be on Reddit or in Discord, a lot of them are players that have been playing forever, right? And so when we got a lot of players saying that it's great and it's fun to play, we've been playing for so long, we have everything. It is great and fun to play when you have everything, or when you're stronger than everybody else that you're playing with. Then you have the newer players that be like, oh, I'm free to play and I enjoy the game. But you haven't played long enough to get to the point where you don't have anything to do unless you pay. That right there is the make or break. Free to play players have fun, they get excited, then they get to a point where it's like slowing down for them, but they still have stuff to do. If you play long enough, you will get to a point where you have nothing else to do unless you pay, or unless they do an event later that will grant you the ability to do things. Again, the slow progression is what I'm talking about. So back to the kind of question for the new players is like, if your goal in Disney Speedstorm is to hop in and have fun, play private lobby. If your goal in Disney Speedstorm is to hop in, have fun, play with other players around the world, go crazy, it's probably not going to be the game for you. And the thing is, like, believe it or not, Disney Speedstorm doesn't really do anything better than other kart racers when it comes to having fun. Let me say that one more time, because you guys might not understand what I'm saying. Disney Speedstorm actually doesn't do anything better than other kart racers when it comes to having fun. Now, fun is subjective. We understand this, right? Your fun is different from my fun. But just because handling in Disney Speedstorm is different from the handling in Mario Kart doesn't mean I'm having more fun with Speedstorm because the driving is different. I like to have fair gameplay. I like to have it so I can race and not have to worry about things literally littering the entire track while I move. Right? So now fun becomes subjective, and it is subjective. Whereas other players might be like, well, I really love the rush. I really love to be able to fire off so many items. Like, and that's okay. But majority of the players that actually come into a game that's a kart game are casuals. And the only thing that brings them to this game are Disney characters. And so when we think about it in that light, why not just play Mario Kart? Why not just play Nickelodeon Kart Racer? Why not just play Kart Rider Drift? Why not? Like, there's so many kart racers. There's a kart racer on Apple Store, clean too. I played it. It was nice. I actually might bring that to my channel for a little bit. But you have Peter Griffin, Family Guy, American Dad, and then there's one more, but I forgot. But why not play that? You see what I mean? Like, there's really nothing that really says I have to play Speedstorm, other than if you just like the Disney characters. As I always say, if there was no Disney characters and all they had was the karts and just some random people, I wouldn't play this game. Why? Because there's no reason to. There's other games that have characters that I enjoy that have better gameplay than Speedstorm in that regard when we're talking about fun. Now, if you're more on the serious side, if you're more on the side where it's like, dude, I love like the nitty gritty. I love being competitive. I love being number one. I love like, I have to play like that. I'm hardcore. This game might be for you then, right? If you're the hardcore player, if you're looking to be stacked out by stars, levels, if you're looking to be fair, the competitive scene up top is very boring because there's not a lot of players there. But if we don't factor in the amount of people that are up there, if you do like to climb the leaderboard and whatnot, Disney Speedstorm has one of the best leaderboard climbs ever, because what climbs you the leaderboard doesn't, I don't want to be offensive, but what climbs leaderboard doesn't equal skill. Like, if you put the time into Disney Speedstorm, if you put the money into Disney Speedstorm, it really shows you your rewards. And I think that's one thing that Disney Speedstorm actually does well, which is why players might actually enjoy spending money on the game. When you play for a long time, or when you spend money on the game, it's actually really, really reflective. You know that if I spend $10 right now to get my star up, you're going to see a difference like that. And so that type of feel for Disney Speedstorm, if that's what you're looking for, if you're looking for, when I do this, it equals this, that's the game for you. If fun is not really your, I mean, again, having the stars and the levels and the cash is fun because you're stronger than everybody else. But if we just took away the fun I'm talking about, like Mario Kart, if we took that fun away and you're really trying to be hardcore, you're really trying to climb the leaderboard, that's something you want to do, then this game is better for that, because again, it's really just about time and money. It is not really necessarily about how good or bad you are. Someone can reach rank 1 on the leaderboard if they just spend a lot of time doing it and they spend a lot of money doing it. That's pretty much all it takes to climb the leaderboard in Disney Speedstorm. So it's not competitive in the aspect of like esports, but it is competitive in the aspect of the game being cutthroat when you're talking about leaderboard. The better the numbers that you got, and you're a really numbers type of person, you're really looking for that, this game's for you. If you're that person that's like, dude, I just want to have fun, I just want to hop in, let's play some games together, I just want to play with some people online and enjoy myself, let's go, I'm ready. This might not be the game for you, because you're missing out on a fat chunk of the game when you try to do that, and you're probably going to be more sad than happy once you realize that's what happens. And so that was a very long-winded thing. Easy Poet, thanks for the comment. That one, I didn't realize that one got so off track, but I feel like it was necessary to explain all of that. Because you're talking about how when you get into the game, you don't notice it. It's like you're blinded by everything. But when you get to the nitty gritty and you really get to the deep part about Speedstorm and what it's about, when it's about how long you've been playing, when it's about how much cash you've been putting in, when it's about having everything like that, if that's something that you like, if you're a collectibles type of person, if you like having everything maxed out, if you like having all your stats, this game is for you. It doesn't really cater to that casual side. It's catering to the, I want to squeeze every little bit and piece out of this game and really just cap everything, then is for you. Again, Easy Poeg, thank you for the comment. I do appreciate it. Let's move on to the next one. Pogue Vapor Wife said, being 100% honest and transparent, no, I wouldn't recommend this game in its current state. By now, we all have our reasonings as to why we continue to play or decide to stop playing it. Personally, I wouldn't want my besties going through the same unnecessary headaches that I presently go through. I will absolutely mention that when it was relevant in conversation, sure, but I still wouldn't recommend it. Play at your own risk. Players beware. Poke. Also, if you haven't noticed, that little icon, Poke is one of the Poppin with Lofton members. If you want to become a member, if you want to see some of the goodies that we got going on, check that join button down below, and you can get a little sneak peek of what's to come on Poppin with Lofton. I don't know what I'm saying. Whenever I do this, it's really unscripted. But let's move into the comments. So as Poke said, yes, it's one of those things where you would recommend it if you want to play with someone. But if you weren't, which is basically what Freaky Fruit said. I love Freaky Fruit. Freaky Fruit was saying that they wanted to recommend it to him because they can play with each other and they can have a good time. When it comes to Poke's recommendation, though, they're seeing it in the light of like they're not playing with their friend. They're just saying, hey, try Disney Speedstorm. And that's it. We're not playing private lobbies together. It's just like, hey, try Disney Speedstorm. If you understand what type of friend you have or what type of games your family members may like, you'll start to piece together real quick, Disney Speedstorm isn't for them. And again, we have to get away from the facade of like, the game is great. There's a lot of negativity to this game. And I'm not saying that just hate the game, don't play it. I'm not saying that at all. But we really can't be blind to a lot of the aspects of the game. What we find fun might not be fun for a regular player like your brother, your sister, your wife, your husband, your son, your daughter, your friend. Like it's not the same. You really have to know what they were like. For me personally, I wouldn't recommend this game to a family member because I know my family members don't play games like that. They don't want to try hard. They don't want to have to cash. They want to have fun, relax, sit down, and chill out, right? And Disney Speedstorm just doesn't offer that unless you play the private lobbies, like Freaky Fruit said. I just really love that name. Like they said, right? And so when we think about recommending it to someone, we also have to think about the negatives that we went through. My personal negatives were, I hate things being in the road. It makes no sense why trails last for so long. It makes no sense why I get stunned and I'm stopped for 3 seconds. Like, it makes no sense. Some of the maps glitching out. It makes no sense why when I hit 4 or 5 stars, I'm glitching out the map because the game can't keep up. Abilities. It makes no sense to have some of these abilities behave how they behave. The way that invulnerability works in this game. It makes no sense to have characters be invulnerable in a battle game. Like, that's just a little bit of it. That's not even the full picture. Now you could say, well, there's some good to this game. Again, if there were no Disney characters, I wouldn't be giving this game time of day. Disney Speedstorm does really well because they have Disney characters. They have Disney themes when it comes to their stages. Their design team and the people that are actually like not balancing and whatnot, or not handling the microtransactions, but their design team, their animation team, whatever team is there, their music team, they are carrying the crap out of this game. Like, they are carrying this game to no extent. If they did a poor job of what they were doing, if they didn't care about what they were giving to us, then like this game would go under like fast. They care so much. If you've ever seen Hortensia, Hortensia. I'm sorry. It's supposed to be said like that. If you've ever seen it, when she jumps, her hat like lifts up, but it like stretches like a cartoon character and pops back onto her head. I'm just like, y'all thought that deep about how you want a character that most people don't even know to look? That's amazing attention to detail. And again, the team behind all this stuff is carrying the game like crazy. But as Poke was saying, there's a lot of negatives to this game where that doesn't outweigh the issue. If you were trying to play for fun, just play Mario Kart. Why? Because we know Mario Kart understands the formula, and we know Mario Kart has been successful. Nickelodeon kart racers, they had 3 games, and honestly, I enjoyed them. They're not as big for the fact of there's Mario Kart, but when they kind of do the same thing, it's not polished as well as it could have been. But again, that's another game you can play with your Nick characters and just have a good time. You don't really have to go crazy. This game is too serious for the type of group that it is kind of marketing to. If you never played Speedstorm, you look at a commercial or you look at one of their trailers, you're gonna see something totally different than what it's like to actually play the game. And that right there goes to show they're being misled into the game. And again, they will let you feel like the trailer is what you've seen, but you'll get in and be like, oh, I don't have that character. You get in and be like, oh, I can only play that. You get hit by a lot of like, what is this nonsense? And if you can take it, if you have a lot of resolve, you'll get through it, and you'll get to the point where you can start enjoying the game, unless you don't want to pay, because then you might be out. But for the players that are like, dude, I'm getting hit, I can't play what I want. What the heck? When you play ranked, people are stronger than you for paying cash? What the heck? I don't even have an ability at 1 star? What the heck? At that point, it's like, bro, I'm done. I don't even like, I just want to play. Like, what's up with all this stuff? You know what I mean? But like Freaky Fruit said, if they have friends to play with, that's where Disney Speedstorm fulfills on that trailer promise that they have, where it's like, have some fun, look at these cool characters, it's so amazing, and it feels that Disney fantasy that they were expecting when they hop into the game. Poke, thank you for the comment. I do appreciate it. Let's move on to the next one. Steven says, another Poppin Afterward Lofted member. Hello, Steven. It's good to see you. They said, 100% yes, Disney Speedstorm is still a unique kart racing game with amazing visuals, sound effects, and music. Again, what I said before, it does have some great versions of what they just said. You can upgrade characters, change their kart's appearance, and have a totally different experience when playing with different characters. That is true. In its current state, most of the problems / frustrations are within completing the season tour 100% and within ranked multiplayer. I already noticed with other games that it's not everyone's goal to complete every single side quest, so they don't care if they can't finish it 100%. Also, there are enough people that play a game for the single player story mode and never even try the multiplayer side. Even though I have my own frustrations with Disney Speedstorm from time to time, I'm still playing it months later, and I will continue to do so from the coming seasons. So if the game is good enough for me to keep coming back literally every day, why wouldn't it be good enough to recommend it to my friends and family? I love that comment. I love that. Give a round of applause. But if we look back at that last little sentence, I'm still playing it months later. That's the key point right there, Stephen. That's the key point. Players that are going to be coming to this game new didn't start months ago. So they're not going to have as much fun as you have because you have a lot more to do. You have a lot more characters to play. You have a lot more ranks to play. If I only got 3 characters, which is Donald, Goofy, I think they give you some more too. So we'll just say I have 5 characters. And then they give you some more from season 2, that's 8. If you play religiously, you're going to hit walls like that. Now, if you play slowly, if you play how Gameloft actually expects you to play, you're not going to actually run into those walls. So you can actually enjoy the game a lot more. So now you have to ask your question, if you're a new coming to the game, how am I going to play the game? Am I going to play it religiously? Am I going to replay it every single day? Kind of how Steven is? If so, you'll hit that wall really quick. If you're gonna be like, well, I'll play every now and then. I really like the game, but I'm not too crazy about playing it every single day. You know, I got stuff to do, but I like dipping my head in and out every few days or every now and then, you know, just to get a little bit of something going. Then this game is for you because it rewards slow progression. Just like every other mobile game, it rewards the fact that you're coming back every single day. It rewards the fact that you're coming back and you're playing for a very, very long period of time. And so that if that is your goal, if you don't plan to get everything out of a game instantly, Disney Speedstorm is not actually a bad game. It will reward you for playing for a long period of time. However, if you're someone that just wants to get in, get going, and bleed the game dry as fast as possible, you'll be disappointed because there's not going to be nothing left for you to do. And that is going to be your breaking point. You're going to be like, oh, there's nothing left for me to do. I'm going to just quit because like I'm not about to wait no 2, 3, 4 weeks for stuff. And I don't have nothing else to do right now. And that is also a hard thing for some games to do. There are early access games that come out or betas that come out, and even some games released like this where it's like the developers don't actually expect you to be so fast. But you know there's those type of players. I'm actually one of them. I will bleed a game out, but I won't do it quickly. I'll actually do it relatively slowly. But Disney Speedstorm again is just something that I would still be faster than. But with like the game like The Witcher, if you ever played The Witcher 3 or Skyrim, stuff like that, I'll take my time. I'll go see every little nook and cranny, but I'll be slow about it. But there are some players who are like, bro, I'm getting through this story mode, game complete, let's move on to the next one. Game complete, let's move on to the next one. If that's how you are with like your games and you feel like I'm gonna hop in, I'm gonna just get my stuff done, get all my characters, oh, I'm gonna rank them all up, oh, it's gonna be so fun, you're gonna be severely disappointed. And when you get to that wall, when you realize you need to pay, when you get to that wall, when you realize you don't really have a way to continue physically, like you really just can't continue no matter how much you want to, you might not want to play the game anymore. So before you invest your time into something like that, ask yourself, is that the goal that you want? Are you trying to come in and just get as much done as much as possible? You got months or you got weeks to just chill out, relax, you're on vacation and you just want to burn through a game? It's not for you. Play your private lobbies, but go play another kart races or something like that, where you can play multiple Grand Prix, like Sonic or Mario Kart or Nickelodeon. You can play multiple Grand Prix. You can play different modes, time trials. You can play battle mode. You can do all this crazy stuff within the game, as Steven said, in the single player setting, and really squeeze it and get all the juices out of it. Whereas if you're doing it for this game, you're gonna get stuck. You're gonna get stuck. Steven, I appreciate the comment, and also I really love it. I really love how much you do understand that there's a lot of struggles with this game, but you also understand that it's still your cup of tea. You still understand, like, through all these struggles, through all these issues, I still continue to play because that's how I am. That's how I am. If I were a new player, I probably wouldn't. No, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. If I came into this game nowadays, I don't know. That's rough because Hades, I wouldn't have Hades right now. So there's some characters that I just wouldn't have. So I don't know. That's rough. That's a hard one. You have to ask yourself, would you really play this game if you came today? I really do like that. I really like that outlook, Steven. Again, always just very positive comments from you, very lighthearted. And I love what you bring to not only the community, but what you bring to the podcast and what you bring to the Discord. And just He's just an all-around great person. So good comment. Let's move on to the next one. The next comment is from Poetic Prophet. They said, no, I would not. The population of players is dying, meaning that even if they wanted to invest into this game now, they might feel robbed later on if it shuts down. Yo, that's a really powerful, like, perception. I really like that. Okay, anyway, this game is now free to play, but many aspects of the game that will help you grow your roster of characters, crew, etc. is closed off by a paywall. None of the single player events are skill based. It all depends on your racer level. For instance, if your racer is in the green, which is the recommended level plus, then it's an easy race. I do agree. If it is in the green, they're going to be kind of mindless bots. If they're in the yellow, 1 to 3 levels below, it's actually a race of skill as long as you see the bots on the screen. If they're in red, well, good luck grinding the races because it will take you a while for the objective that you need to get done multiple times. At that point, you have 2 options. Walk over to the shop and bust that wallet open or miss out on rewards. That's literally what I was saying in the last comment. These comments are literally just bouncing off of each other. That's crazy. There is no skill involved in ranked multiplayer. Whoever wins is based on the biggest wallet or grinding for a long period of time. That's true. And a lot of people kind of miss out on that. They feel like it's skill and we've just been playing for a really long time. So yeah, we're not cashing, so to speak, right? We've been playing for a long time. But if you compare that to a new player, there's no skill involved. So you have basically different brackets. And within that bracket, you can kind of say it's skill. If you like to spend hundreds and thousands on this game and you're versus someone else who spends hundreds and thousands on the game, then you might be in a bracket where you feel like, okay, well, skill matters. Again, it still doesn't, but it feels a lot more close because you guys are close and, you know, on each other's level. If you're someone who's played in early access and you're playing against other players from early access, you're going to feel again like it's closer because you are all in that same bubble. You're all in that same area. You're a lot closer, similar in level. You've been playing for the same time. If you're a new player and you are playing with other new players, again, it feels like there is skill involved when the reality is you're just playing with a group of the same people. Once you start wrapping all this stuff together, it's every direction. It's a free-for-all, it's chaotic, and that's where you get a lot of the frustrations when it comes to ranked multiplayer. So now let's continue reading. The only mode where you can have relative fun is regulated or private lobby. However, not enough people continue to run that mode after completing the objectives for the week. The season tour is egregious this season. Many new players won't even have the chance to complete it, so what's the point? So now you're left with a few options. Pay your way to the top, grind your happiness away, or avoid this game. I will say when it comes to the season tour, you actually can complete the season tour without spending a dime, but you can't do the extra bonus races. I've tried this out during the Lilo and Stitch season, and they give you enough to make it through, but you can't get the bonus stuff. So, I mean, if you're someone who plays story games, that's pretty much what I was saying with the last post. It was like, if you play to just be, get as much as you want, you're gonna get to a point where you're walled off and you have nothing else to do unless you do what Poetic Prophet just said, which was cash. Like you physically cannot move. You are stuck. And that's the problem with the game when it comes to being a new player. Even when it comes to early access players or even cash players, when they did that before with the chapter 7 or 8, I don't remember, but everybody was upset. Everybody felt like the new player experience where it's like, bro, we can't complete anything because we can't complete anything unless we pay. That's sad that new players have been experiencing this for a really, really long time and nobody really understood their pain until it happens to us. Then it's kind of like, wow, we took 2 months of the free to play, or 2 seasons of free to play, and we still didn't fix this issue, and it's gotten so bad now it affects people that have been cashing or people that have been playing and supporting the game since day one. That's the problem. And so as Poetic Prophet says, it's actually pretty funny because they said the population of players is dying, meaning that even if they wanted to invest in the game now, they feel robbed later on if it shuts down. Now that's funny because I have yet to see anyone actually think about it that way. You're actually right. If we pay attention to the past, I'm not going to use 5 months. I've been around since day one, so I'm not going to use my experience. It's been longer than 5 months, but let's just say you came on the free to play season. Since then, it's been going downhill pretty much on every aspect of the game, leaning more into pay us more money. If you think about it, and as they said, if you think about it, if it keeps going this way next season and the season after, it can get to a point where it's just way too much and people will just instantly leave, which I don't think that'll happen. I think Disney Speedstorm will always have a player base, but I think Gameloft will do what they do with their other games, which is not updated. They'll just like say, okay, let's just recycle seasons, or that way you can get your character. Like they're gonna do something and have a backup plan where it's like the game will continue to make money, but we don't have to do anything to make it make money. You know what I mean? And that's what mobile games do. But Gameloft in particular, I've played a lot of their games. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. I can't blame them though. Like literally, if it's not making you as much as you putting in, you might as well just let it sit there and collect without doing anything. I don't agree with it, but it's not a bad idea if you think, you know, the project failed, so to speak. Yeah, that's hard. And there's a lot of people thinking that the player base is not going down. They're saying things like, oh, it's because, you know, most people play on consoles. And it's like, that's not true. The game is definitely declining in players, no matter which console or which platform you're playing it on. The players are definitely going down. You could tell. Now, when we're talking about people that play just season 2 or limited events, well, you obviously can't tell. That doesn't make sense. But if we're talking about the fraction of people that actually play regulated, or the fraction of people that actually play ranked, like those numbers are dwindling. And we can tell this by how they're raising prices. We could tell this by how their transactions are getting different. We could tell this by how they're doing limited events nowadays. We could tell this, like, I've been playing since day one. The way the game has been changing, it's been changing very slowly. But if you're really perceptive back then, you could see the way that it's going is like it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and it's asking for more and more and more money. If you have tons of players, even if something is worth $10, that's a lot of money. Compared to if you have less players, you're gonna have to make things more expensive, so that way you can get more money to compensate for the players that have left. There's no company, or there's no game company that I've seen where if they have tons of players, they increase prices. That just doesn't make much sense, because why would you make it so that more people would want to leave? Because it's like, now you're charging too much. Yes, prices do fluctuate based off like countries and, you know, all that extra stuff based off currencies and stuff and whatnot. But you see a lot of hidden things happening and changing throughout the seasons. And if you're like me, which is just very perceptive, and I'm pretty sure Poetic Prophet might have noticed this as well, because I mean that comment was insane. That was like some big brains comments. If you actually like pay attention to like what's happening over these patches and disregard all the fluffy characters and the fluffy seasons and the teasers and all that stuff that takes your brain off of it, you'll notice a lot of issues, and you'll notice a lot of slight changes that they're not telling us about. And eventually you'll get to the point where it's like, bro, like, what are y'all doing? And you only really notice it when it hits you hard like that. But if you pay attention, you will see the changes throughout the course of the game. And as they were saying, it will get to the point where if they keep going down this hole, it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And it's going to get worse until people stop playing the game. I've never thought of it that way, but that would really suck if you say, hey, play this game. They spent thousands of dollars and the game shuts down, or the game just continues to do that idle state where it's like, we'll keep the game running, but we're not having any new updates to it. There's a lot of games that do that. That would really suck. I didn't even think of it that way. Holy crap, Poetic Prophet. That was deep. That was deep. Thank you for the comment. That's a lot to think about. Let's move on to the next one. I think your name is Cled Cunningham, but if I said it wrong, it's Kyle something. If it's Kyle D. Cunningham, I apologize. I'm gonna just say both and just say I'm correct both times. I don't know. But they said, this game is fun after about 2 months of grinding, making the early game almost impossible feeling sometimes, especially in the single player. How is a new player supposed to be good enough to unlock Oswald? Not alone get his level up to at least 30 to complete his objectives. True. Offline multiplayer has been nerfed to pieces as well, meaning if you want to enjoy a couch co-op experience, now with family and friends, you will have to unlock characters in the full game to unlock them. I think that's just limited characters. I've seen that, but I don't think it's all of them. I think it's limited characters only. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, because I don't play local that often unless I'm testing something. So yeah, that's interesting. I do know there's limited event characters that have that though. Let's continue. So they said, ranked is one of the worst ranked experiences I've played in my life. If you've got a 5-star character, that pretty much will get you easily to at least champion. Zoom through Elizabeth Swan without even losing any NPR once. But on the flip side, with a 1-star, you will struggle to 4th to place in 4th most games. Yep, true. They should switch regulated and ranked. It makes no sense having a ranked game having some players start with an advantage. That's true too, whether it be levels, stars, or crew member item at the start, or even like Brawler being able to ram you at the start and just ruining your entire race. Regulated is for some reason the best test of skill, seeing as how you're mostly put on an even playing field, same stars and level. The only real thing that you can lose to is Aladdin. That's funny. One of the problems with regulated, and I don't think many people talk about it because, you know, you can kind of get around it just by being good, like you said. One of the problems is some characters are just faster than other characters. And that is set in stone. You can't alter that. Mario Kart is a really good experience because you can alter how your character stats are going to be. And honestly, the difference between the two isn't that high. Like there's a like little difference between them, even if you say someone is full top speed versus someone who is like half top speed. But you can adjust your stats to match what you feel or to at least keep up with others. In Disney Speedstorm, there's some characters that are inherently slow going against characters that are mega fast. And I won't even say mega fast in regulated, but they are faster to the point where I would still have an advantage over you just based off the character that I played. If they were to do something like this and they were to change their mode, I feel like they're gonna have to just make all stats the same and really take the Mario Kart approach. Have it so that you can adjust your crew. That's fine, but at least you are able to factor in, well, how much speed do you want? You know, what do you want? Maybe have all crew unlocked. Maybe have the whole crew roster set in regulated and you could just choose what stat you want to put in. Maybe have skill points that you can put into your character so you can adjust the speed that way, and you can just keep adjusting it on the fly as you continue to race based off your experience and playing with other players. I do agree that, again, the way that they marketed the game made it seem like it was way different than what it is when you actually get into it. I even seen where they marketed the rank climb in the Frozen trailer, and I was thinking to myself, why y'all put that? Like why y'all do that? Why you lying to them? That is not start your climb. Let's do it like, you know, other ranked games. That is start paying so that you can start climbing. If you're a new player, again, you know, this is from the perspective of a new player. You're going to have to cash if you want to play this game. That's so clear cut. If you want to play this game and to enjoy yourself, you are going to have to cash. Depending on how far you've been playing or how long you've been playing, you can cash less. So if you've started, like when I started, I don't have to cash as much. I've never cashed. Anyway, I just use their free cash. But if you played as long as I've been playing, like you can still do a lot of the things that a lot of the new players can't. And even if the new players cash, as a person who's been playing for so long, you are actually still ahead of them. So not only do you need to cash as a new player, but you still probably won't beat players that have been playing for longer than you. So you have to like cash on top of cash. And then on top of that, you have players that actually cash at the top that's been playing for a long time. So you have to cash on top of cash on top of the cash. Like you have to bank out if you want to enjoy this game. And again, you got to ask yourself, is this game drawing you enough to make you want to do that? Or are there other, even not kart games? If you feel like, well, I like to spend money and like really perform better. That's how I like to play my games. Well, I'm pretty sure there's other mobile, I'm not really a mobile gamer, but maybe you guys can attest to this, but I'm pretty sure there's other mobile games that you can cash and get a lot more out of it than this game. And maybe because they have story mode, maybe because they have like crazy PvP or crazy PvP events or stuff like that. But I'm pretty sure even if it's not a kart game, there is mobile companies that actually designed it really, really well. Even though you do have to put some money into it or a lot of money into it, it's still designed well. I'm not a mobile gamer, so I don't know, but I'm going to assume there are some out there. And when you play Disney Speedstorm, again, ask yourself what the draw is. I like Disney characters. Well, maybe just play another Disney game. I mean, okay. Well, I like kart racers. Well, maybe try another kart racer. We'll see if you like that one. Disney Speedstorm feels unique, but Disney Speedstorm is not the only game that feels like this. Again, if you're not really someone who's played a lot of kart racers, you might not know, but there's a lot of mechanics in Disney Speedstorm that is present in other games, including the handling. Again, this is just a new generation type of a game, so you might not have heard of the other ones, but other games do it just fine, and you can spend $10 or $20 on that game and get the exact same experience that you get from Disney Speedstorm, but with bonus characters and stuff like that you don't have to pay that microtransaction with. And this is why I was saying, if you are a new player, how do you want to play the game? I would just say spend that $20 or $30 to buy that game over there and get everything and have a tons more content than play this free-to-play one and only have a little bit of content unless you spend over the $20 and $30 mark. You know what I mean? So back to recycling back to your regulated comment, I think they're going to have to really work out how to make it better because players still have an advantage even in regulated. And that's a problem. But again, I don't think that's something that they care about. I don't think their main goal is to do that. Now, we can be surprised in season 6 and maybe they'll do something crazy, or they might just continue to increase prices, continue to devalue what you get from the shop, continue to ignore a lot of the issues and just say, hey, here's a new character. Now forget about everything that you were upset about. Hey, here's a new season. Forget about everything you were upset about. Unfortunately, that's not a great way to run your game, but if it works, it works, right? So good comment. I appreciate you, especially because you left such a detailed comment and you're a new face. Good to see you. Thank you for writing. Let's move on to the next one. The next comment is from Matt Kofidis. They said, nah, when they made it free to play, the game dipped in quality. They don't listen / communicate with the community, make it harder to complete time trials to unlock characters, and now for the last few chapters of the season, they lock rewards behind recently released. Those are just a couple of a myriad of reasons I wouldn't recommend the game. Won't even get into the bugs / glitches or extreme, almost predatory monetization the game employs now. If it didn't have Disney / Pixar characters, would it still have a decent player count at this point? I mean, true. That's the thing about podcasts. Don't we get into the nitty gritty? Like, my podcast is unfiltered, not curse word wise, but you know, information exchanging words wise. It's very like these podcasts be going crazy. You guys have just some great comments. Like, you guys have great point of views. Whether, again, you agree with each other, you agree with me, I love reading it because you guys are very smart and you guys understand what you're talking about to a T. So let's attack this comment here. So I do agree when it comes to free to play, it dipped in quality. But I will say, Matt Kofidis, that even before then, it dipped in quality. As someone who's been watching this game and covering this game, I've actually noticed a lot more than people who just play the game and have fun. Early access on start, we had something called Q&A. On that Q&A, we would ask the developers a lot of questions and they'd get back to us. I used to do videos on them. This happened, I think, about twice, maybe 3 times, but twice to my knowledge. After that, that didn't happen anymore. Even before that, when in that area, the community, or not the community, but the developers would still talk to us. You know, they would talk to us in a little Discord chat and they just hang out and relax. Eventually, once it got towards, well, also, let me just kind of add that they used to do a lot more patches. They would patch in between seasons. You don't just have a patch every single season. They'd patch in between seasons and they'd fix what needs to be fixed. They'd adjust what needs to be adjusted based off feedback. It got to a point where it started slow. So first off, it got to the point where we're not going to have any more Q&A. They were still chilling in the Discord, hanging out, doing stuff, but we just didn't have any more Q&A. Then it got to the point where they stopped doing patches. I think they were still chilling in Discord. They were still taking feedback. They were still appreciative. Then we stopped hearing from them in general. Like they weren't really in Discord anymore. And then there's no one hanging out there. You have the community managers that would be there, but like, I think there's less of them. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you are a community manager and you see different, correct me if I'm wrong on that point, because I wasn't really in the Discord like that. I mean, I was in it, but I wasn't really reading it. I would just search for like new stuff and stuff like that because I was really excited for the game. I think if you ever watch my first ever game, first ever video on this game, Kid in the Candy Store, extremely excited. I was hyped to cover this game. Then after that, it got to the point where we didn't have any patches. We didn't have any Q&As. We didn't hear from them at all. Nothing was getting adjusted. And then this is like a month before free to play, I believe. That's when I made that 5 month ago video that you guys have probably already said, where it says we need change. That point was really the tipping point. So it was even before free to play. Once free to play hit, that was just it. we also had a lot more teasers. We also had a lot more not fan art, but like concept art. We had a lot more information about what was coming up months ahead, weeks ahead, what new modes. They would discuss how the modes are hanging. They would discuss what we can and can't do. They would, like, it was really insane how active they were, how receptive they were, how much they were willing to make a great game, how much they were willing to adjust things for players. But after Aladdin dropped, after free to play hit, it was kind of like that team either got moved or they just kind of gave up on the game because they were like, well, not many people are buying early access. And I think I remember too that early access was supposed to last for a lot longer than it did. So I think the game went free to play prematurely, which would then also probably help verify that the game, the people at the top were probably just like, well, we're not really seeing much turnaround for this game. Let's just kind of drop it free to play anyway and see what we get. And then maybe they've seen like, oh, even on free to play drop, after like maybe a week, we went from 7,000 players, at least on Steam, down to 1,000 in less than a week. That's a big dip. That's 6,000 players. So I think once they've seen that, and that's just PC. That dip happened on every platform. So I think at that point, you know, they probably were like, ooh, we have to put a lot more work into it to make it something that people want to play. And I just don't think it's necessary, especially because we have a lot of other projects going with Gameloft. And I think that could be why the quality decreased, as what Matt Koff just said. It's like, think about it. Like, what happens when businesses aren't going to make as much money from the business that they originally had? They either shut it down, which I don't think is going to happen. Gameloft very rarely shuts their games down, even the ones that don't perform well. But they're going to stop making updates to it. They're going to stop releasing new stuff for it. And they're just going to let it kind of sit there and cycle. And that's pretty much it. So, again, we get down to the nitty gritty. My personal opinion on this, because I don't really ever say my personal opinions on my podcast, I don't think. I mean, I say it as I read it, but I don't actually say what I think and answer the question. So maybe I'll start doing that. Let me know if you made it this far into the video and you're like, man, Poppin, I want to know your opinion too. Don't be trying to skimp out. Don't be trying to dodge the bullet. Let me know in the comments, like, Poppin, I want to see your opinion at the end of the video, please. And I'll give you my opinion and I'll answer the question. For this question particularly, I wouldn't recommend it to somebody. Even if they were the type to be hardcore, even if they were the type to be really big Disney fans. Because at the end of the day, I know there are other games out there that will satisfy whatever need that they have. Do you like a kart racer? Well, that kart racer will probably do it better than them. Do you like racing games? Well, that racing game probably does it better than them. Do you like Disney characters? Well, you have other Disney games that do really well. Even if it is like Dreamlight Valley, that's a really good Disney game that you don't need to, like, you know, be so crazy with paying. There's other Disney games too, like a lot of them, honestly. So if you want to get your fix with a Disney game, this is just kind of better quality of a Disney game. If you want to have a game that's pay to play, well, then play Final Fantasy. Go play a game that actually has pay to play in it, and they do something with the money that they're receiving by adding new things, not just leaning on the Disney name, or not just leaning on the amazing talents of the music people and the artist and the animation team, and not like leaning on their hard work and effort to get you sales, in my opinion. Go with a company that actually does it. Go with a company that takes your money and uses it to actually improve what you're talking about, make adjustments, and do all that extra good stuff, you know? So, like, currently, there really isn't a reason for me to recommend the game to anybody, because there's no pull. Like, the only reason I would say try this game is because of Disney characters. But my own experience for playing for so long, and for seeing how the game has its ups and downs, and for seeing the irritations of the game and whatnot, you really have to be a special type of person to enjoy this game for what it is and to continue to play this game. Am I one of those people? Yeah, I continue to play. I'm that special type of person. But I've also been playing for a really long time. Like I said before, if I came today, I probably wouldn't play this game. The only reason why I continue to play this game is because I have a lot of stuff, because I've been playing for a very, very, very long time. And being a founder was appreciated by them at the start. So that's just my take on it. again, I appreciate your comments. Whether you guys disagree with me, disagree with each other, I'm glad that we're all respectful, and that's what I want. I want a safe place where we're all respectful. I want a safe place where we all can have our opinions and not feel attacked for it, because, we all deserve to be heard, and we all deserve to have an opinion. That's just what it is. So, Poppin Often with Lofton will never let you be attacked. Poppin Often with Lofton will never degrade any of your comments or anything like that. I'm here for you, and I love knowing your opinion, and I read every single comment that you guys put out. If you enjoyed my unfiltered podcast with the community, make sure you subscribe. That way you're notified for next week's podcast. And if you want to watch any of the recent podcasts, check them out as well. They're good listens. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, I always say, thank you guys for doing what? Poppin' Often with Podcast Lofton.